Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. It was supposed to be the happiest chapter of her life. A newlywed bride, a fresh start, and the promise of a family. But just weeks after her marriage, 25-year-old Aarushi would be found dead in her own home. The shocking brutality of her death sent shockwaves across her community, because the person accused of killing her wasn't a stranger in the dark. It was a man she had just vowed to love forever. Aarushi was described as radiant, full of ambition, and deeply loved by her family. To the outside world, she had married into stability and respect. But beneath the surface, Aarushi carried a secret that would ultimately cost her life. She was pregnant with another man's child. Her husband, Raghav, was well regarded in his neighborhood, known for his quiet charm and traditional values. But behind that mask, investigators would later discover a darker side: controlling behavior, hidden affairs, and a temper that could ignite in an instant. When Raghav discovered the truth about his wife's pregnancy, the illusion of their perfect marriage collapsed. In a fit of rage, he cornered Aarushi inside their home. The confrontation spiraled into violence. Neighbors reported hearing chilling screams. By the time anyone rushed over, Aarushi's body lay lifeless on the floor, her face bruised, her jewelry scattered, her unborn child silenced. Police arrived to a disturbing scene. At first, Raghav claimed Aarushi had collapsed, but the injuries told a different story. Blood stains, broken bangles, and defensive wounds painted a picture of a woman who had fought for her life. As detectives dug deeper, they began to uncover inconsistencies in Raghav's account, whispers of his own infidelity, and financial troubles that hinted this murder might not have been only about betrayal. But investigators were about to uncover something that would turn this case upside down. A shocking revelation about Raghav's past, and a disturbing possibility that Aarushi's death might not have been his first act of violence. Police soon discovered that Raghav wasn't the honorable husband he pretended to be. Behind closed doors, he had been involved in a secret relationship with another woman before and even during his marriage. This woman wasn't just a fling. She was allegedly pressuring him for money and promises he couldn't keep. Detectives learned Raghav had mounting debts, some linked to gambling and shady business deals. His so-called perfect image was nothing more than a facade. As investigators traced Raghav's past, disturbing stories began to surface. Old acquaintances described his controlling behavior, violent outbursts, and a deep obsession with reputation and honor. One chilling detail stood out. Aarushi wasn't the first woman to suffer under his fists. A former girlfriend, interviewed anonymously, revealed how she narrowly escaped his wrath years earlier, yet no police report was ever filed. Raghav's family had allegedly covered it up, protecting him from scrutiny. The evidence against Raghav was stacking up. Bloodstains matching Aarushi's DNA were found on his clothing, despite his claims she had collapsed. Forensics proved she died from blunt force trauma, not natural causes. But just when detectives thought they had their suspect cornered, a shocking twist emerged. A neighbor came forward with information that suggested someone else may have been inside the house that night. Someone tied to Raghav's secret dealings. Could Aarushi's murder have been more than just an act of rage? Was Raghav hiding a darker conspiracy involving his debts, his mistress, and perhaps even a plan to silence his wife permanently? What police discovered next would turn this already tragic case into something far more sinister. By now, investigators had built a strong case against Raghav. His lies had crumbled, his double life was exposed, and forensic evidence tied him directly to Aarushi's death. But just when it seemed straightforward, a neighbor's testimony shifted the entire investigation into dangerous new territory. A witness reported seeing a man lurking outside the couple's home just hours before Aarushi's screams were heard. He wasn't a stranger. He was allegedly connected to Raghav's mounting debts. Some believed he was a loan shark's enforcer. Others suspected he was tied to Raghav's mistress. Whoever he was, his presence raised a chilling question. Did Raghav kill Aarushi in a fit of rage, or was she silenced to cover up something even darker? Detectives soon tracked down Raghav's secret mistress. In her initial interview, she painted herself as a victim, claiming Raghav manipulated and used her. But under pressure, cracks appeared in her story. She admitted that Aarushi's pregnancy was a major threat to her own relationship with Raghav. Even worse, investigators discovered dozens of late-night phone calls between Raghav and the mistress just days before the murder. Could she have played a role in pushing him over the edge, or even conspired in the killing? As shocking as that was, the most disturbing revelation came from inside Raghav's own family. During questioning, a relative hinted that the family knew about Aarushi's pregnancy before the wedding. Instead of calling it off, they pushed the marriage forward to avoid shame. Had they set Aarushi up from the very beginning, knowing that her secret could destroy everything? The deeper police dug, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a single act of violence. It was a story of lies, betrayal, and possibly conspiracy that involved more than just one man. But the most shocking twist was still to come. Because when investigators retrieved Aarushi's phone, the messages they uncovered revealed a truth no one was prepared for. When police finally accessed her messages, what they uncovered sent ripples of horror through the investigation. Aarushi had been reaching out, not just to friends, but to someone who could help protect her from Raghav's escalating rage. Investigators found texts detailing Aarushi's fear of her husband. She described violent arguments, threats, and disturbing behavior that Raghav had hidden from the family. She even hinted at planning to leave the marriage, but her options were limited. And then there was the most shocking discovery. Messages from her ex-lover, Kabir, revealing that he knew about the pregnancy and wanted to intervene. Aarushi had pleaded for guidance and protection, but no one answered in time. The phone also contained evidence implicating Raghav's mistress. Jealous and desperate, she had sent threatening messages, warning Aarushi to stay away. Some investigators now began to suspect that Raghav's act of violence wasn't entirely spontaneous. Was it partly driven by manipulation from the mistress? Even more disturbing were deleted call logs recovered through forensic software. The timeline suggested someone may have been in the house before the murder, coordinating with Raghav, or watching to ensure that Aarushi couldn't escape. The pieces were forming a horrifying picture. A man fueled by jealousy, a mistress possibly orchestrating part of the crime, a family complicit in keeping dangerous secrets, and a woman trapped with nowhere to turn. Investigators realized that Aarushi's death wasn't just a result of marital rage. It was a product of a network of deceit, manipulation, and betrayal. And yet, the most shocking twist of all was still hidden. Because when police examined Raghav's phone and personal accounts, they discovered something that could rewrite everything they thought they knew about his motive. Raghav's account showed suspicious transfers, large sums of money disappearing just days before Aarushi's murder. Investigators discovered that he had taken out multiple loans in his name, and some transactions suggested he was funneling money to individuals connected to his mistress. Even more shocking, police found evidence that Raghav had been investigating life insurance policies he could potentially benefit from in the event of tragedy. While no direct policy had yet been linked to Aarushi, the timing and secrecy raised unsettling questions. Had Raghav been planning more than just a crime of passion? Forensic psychologists began to build a profile of Raghav. He exhibited classic signs of narcissistic rage, obsession with control, inability to accept betrayal, and a terrifying need to dominate every aspect of Aarushi's life. Experts suggested that the murder was not spontaneous. It was an explosive response, yes, but fueled by pre-existing anger, financial stress, and manipulation by others around him. Interviews with friends and family uncovered alarming new evidence. Raghav's mistress had apparently been pressuring him to solve the problem of the pregnancy. Messages recovered from her phone hinted at a plan, cryptic but clear. She wanted Aarushi out of the picture, permanently. And yet, one question haunted the investigators. Was she acting alone and influencing Raghav, or was there an even larger network lurking in shadows? The investigation now suggested a terrifying possibility. Aarushi's death may have been orchestrated by more than just a jealous husband. Someone else may have been present that night. Someone with a clear motive and a dark agenda. And when investigators finally traced the phone records, they uncovered one final lead that could change everything. Phone records and security footage traced the figure to a man who had frequent contact with Raghav. Initially dismissed as a neighbor, forensic analysis revealed he was connected to one of Raghav's business dealings. Someone who had been quietly overseeing Raghav's financial misdeeds. Police began to suspect that this man may have been more than just an observer. could have influenced Raghav's decisions, or even encouraged a violent act. Further investigation uncovered an even darker twist. The man had ties to an authority figure, a local police officer, who had previously ignored warnings about Raghav's temper and past abusive behavior. Documents and whistleblower testimonies suggested the officer may have intentionally turned a blind eye, perhaps for personal gain or loyalty. This revelation raised terrifying questions. Was Aarushi's murder purely personal, or was it part of a larger pattern of corruption and complicity? Meanwhile, Raghav's mistress came under renewed scrutiny. Messages recovered from her phone hinted at prior knowledge of the shadowy figure's involvement, suggesting that she may have coordinated with him to ensure Aarushi could not escape. Evidence pointed to an unsettling collaboration: a jealous lover, a controlling husband, and an accomplice who may have had the power to cover up crimes. The walls of secrecy were closing in. Investigators realized that Aarushi's death was not just a tragedy. It was a carefully orchestrated act involving multiple people with motives ranging from greed to obsession. And then, just when it seemed the full picture was within reach, forensic analysts discovered something on Aarushi's phone that would change the investigation entirely. Digital forensics recovered deleted audio messages from Aarushi. In them, she spoke of fear, not just of her husband, but of someone else, someone who would threaten her if she revealed certain secrets. She mentioned a friend of the family, later identified as the same man caught on CCTV, who had encouraged Raghav to handle the problem and even hinted at covering it up. More chillingly, one message revealed that her husband had considered using financial and legal leverage to control her, including life insurance policies and loans. Aarushi's voice trembled as she whispered, "They'll never let me live if I tell anyone." Further analysis of messages between Raghav and his mistress revealed coded references to the shadowy figure and financial arrangements. It became increasingly clear that Aarushi's murder was not impulsive. It was premeditated, orchestrated by multiple parties, each with their own selfish motive. Some messages even suggested that the mistress had lured Raghav into committing the act, knowing he would be the one to face public suspicion while she distanced herself. Then, a breakthrough. Investigators discovered bank transfers from Raghav's accounts to the shadowy figure, the man who had been seen outside the house. The timing matched the hours before the murder. It wasn't just jealousy and rage anymore. It was a calculated conspiracy, fueled by greed, manipulation, and a desire to silence Aarushi permanently. The walls were closing in, and all signs pointed to a terrifying conclusion. Aarushi's death was no isolated act of rage. It was a result of betrayal by everyone she trusted, orchestrated to protect secrets, finances, and reputations. But the most disturbing revelation was yet to come. The investigation was about to uncover something so shocking it would shake the entire community. Evidence showed that Raghav, pressured by financial debts and manipulated by his mistress, had planned Aarushi's murder weeks in advance. The shadowy figure had acted as an enforcer, ensuring that Raghav's act of violence would be swift and leave no witnesses. The mistress's messages revealed she had even suggested disposing of evidence and intimidating neighbors to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, Raghav's family, fearing scandal, had remained silent, prioritizing reputation over justice. Investigators concluded that Aarushi had been trapped in a deadly combination of jealousy, greed, and manipulation. Her only crime was loving the wrong person. Just when it seemed the case was ready for prosecution, forensic analysts discovered one last set of messages on Aarushi's phone. These were deleted text messages sent in the hours before her death. Messages that seemed to be from someone entirely unexpected. The tone was cryptic, almost threatening, suggesting that even more people knew about the secret pregnancy and the plan to silence her. The text hinted at a connection reaching beyond the household. Someone with influence, someone untouchable. The investigation had uncovered murder, manipulation, and betrayal. But the final revelation suggested that Aarushi's death might have been only part of something much larger. A secret so dangerous, so deeply hidden, it could shake not just a family, but the entire community. The deleted text, when fully decoded by forensic analysts, hinted at the involvement of a local religious figure who had influence over the family and the community. This person had pressured Raghav to marry Aarushi despite her pregnancy, and had actively worked to conceal Raghav's prior abusive behavior. Investigators realized this wasn't just a crime of passion or jealousy. It was a cover-up orchestrated to protect the reputation of powerful people. With Aarushi caught in the crossfire, evidence showed that the mistress had been in contact with this religious figure, receiving instructions and encouragement to manipulate Raghav further. She had played a key role in driving the plan forward, but the mastermind had remained invisible, keeping the entire network intact. The investigation now suggested that Aarushi's death may have been just one part of a much larger scheme, a conspiracy designed to maintain control, silence dissent, and protect a system of power and influence. As authorities prepared to arrest Raghav and his accomplices, a new discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation. Aarushi had secretly recorded conversations with this mysterious figure, hinting at knowledge that could expose the entire conspiracy. Those recordings were missing, and someone had clearly taken them. The investigation had revealed murder, betrayal, greed, and manipulation, but the most dangerous secrets were still out there, hidden from view. Aarushi's voice and the truth she carried might still be alive, but in whose hands? Investigators finally recovered Aarushi's secret recordings. Hidden in a cloud account she had cleverly encrypted, the audio captured conversations that exposed every detail. Threats from Raghav, instructions from the religious figure, and manipulation by the mistress. Her bravery, even in her final days, had ensured that the full conspiracy could be exposed. Raghav was arrested and charged with premeditated murder. Forensic evidence, his own messages, and Aarushi's recordings left him with no defense. The mistress was apprehended for conspiracy and obstruction of justice. The shadowy enforcer was taken into custody, and the influential religious figure faced investigation for abuse of power, complicity, and obstruction. The family, who had tried to protect their reputation at the cost of Aarushi's life, faced intense public scrutiny. Some members were implicated in covering up prior warning signs and enabling Raghav's violent behavior. Aarushi's story shook the entire community. Media coverage, court proceedings, and public outrage ensured that the crime was never forgotten. Her courage, recorded in her secret messages, revealed the terrifying truth that sometimes the people who should protect you are the very ones who put you in danger. This story began as a tale of love and betrayal, but it became a stark reminder of the dangers of secrecy, manipulation, and unchecked power. Aarushi's life was stolen, but her truth survived, shining a light on the darkest corners of greed, obsession, and corruption. Her legacy remains, a warning, a memory, and a call for justice. In memory of Aarushi, her voice will never be silenced. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.